Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on the Gooners and Gloves Podcast channel. In today's video, it's going to be the 46th Gooners and Gloves Podcast, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and reactions to the Derek Chisora Otto Wallin fight that took place last night. This was an IBF World Title Eliminator, and if you don't know, an Eliminator is when the winner fights for that championship. So Derek Chisora, having won by unanimous decision, is now the number one mandatory for the winner of Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois for the IBF World Title. He will now fight the winner of that fight for that championship belt. And again, just an incredible fight, really highly entertaining. I mean, of course, we expected nothing less with Derek Chisora. He always brings it. You know, he's not called War for no reason. He always brings it. He always makes it entertaining. He always makes it scrappy. And yeah, it was a great fight. And my word, what a performance by Derek Chisora. Really impressive stuff. I mean, to be doing, to be performing like that and with that high intensity at 41 years of age, especially having fought 48 other professional fights prior to this one, is super impressive stuff. Otto Wallin certainly showed a lot of heart, and he definitely had his moments, but this was definitely Derek Chisora's night. An excellent performance, seriously, really good stuff, and I was highly impressed with him. Yeah, it may not be of course I know that it may not be the most technical or the most like oh my god, look how elusive he is and look at the combinations, but sometimes it doesn't have to be. Sometimes just going forward, biting down in your gum shield and just throwing, huge punches and everything but the kitchen sink, sometimes that works. And for Derek Chisora, it certainly worked. It's worked for him quite a few times in his career, but it certainly worked on this night. An excellent performance. He really rolled back the years and gave us just a great fight. It has been said that this was the last time he's ever going to fight in the UK. So this is his second last fight. He said that his last fight will be his next one, his 50th. But this was the final one in the UK. So the UK boxing fans and UK boxing media certainly owes Derek Chisora a debt, because my goodness, he's given us so many great nights. I mean, Derek Chisora has given the UK, so many great nights, so many great fights. And end of the day, it was a great way for him to finish off his UK boxing career with a fantastic win over Otto Wallin. As mentioned before, not the most technical, not the most elusive, but sometimes it doesn't have to be. End of the day, he bit down on his gum shield, he pressed forward, he landed huge punches, and ultimately just got a great win. So let's get into the actual fight itself. So starting with what Derek Chisora did well, the first obvious one is the pressure. The pressure was absolutely on point tonight. Just really went forward, didn't take a step back, and ultimately just was able to almost bully Wallin. Like, he was able to bully Wallin against the ropes, bully him against the corner, and that's when a pressure fighter thrives best. It's when they're able to bully their opponent into the ropes or into the corner and then just really go to work, and that's what Derek Chisora did really well. Obviously, he also needs to have a great gas tank, which, I mean, of course, I'm not saying he has like the best gas tank in the world. Remember, guys, he is 41 years of age, but it was honestly pretty good. Like, he showed a pretty good gas tank. Sure, he had to stop at points. Sure, he was breathing heavy at points, but considering how many fights he's had and the fact that he's 41, I thought he honestly showed a very good gas tank. Certainly was enough to be able to execute his strategy. Secondly, and again, one of the most obvious ones, the looping punches. So by looping punches, I mean hooks and also overhands. And again, these were absolutely perfectly placed by Derek Chisora. Every time he'd get Wallin against the ropes, he would just throw loads of hooks, loads of overhands, and it works for him. Sure, other fighters may be able to avoid that and may be able to use pivot and use footwork and get out the corner, get out the ropes, but ultimately Otto, didn't do that, and so as a result, Derek Chisora landed the heavy hooks, landed the overhands, the body shots as well from Derek, which again, for a pressure fighter, body shots are so good because then they suck the wind out of your opponent. And obviously when you're constantly pressing forward and also you've been hit in the body many times, it means that that guy pressing forward is going to be able to more easily corner you. And as the fight kept progressing, sure, Derek was also tiring out because of his high output, but so was Otto Wallin because of all the punishment he was taking and all the body shots he was taking. It definitely it tired him out. And yeah, so that's the main success I think Derek had, was those overhands and also the hooks. So the overhand rights, the hooks, etc., the body hooks and also the face hooks, just basically the looping punches. Derek has always been very good at looping punches, and on this night he certainly showed that. Just landed so many hooks, so many overhand rights. There were multiple standing 8 counts, there were a couple of knockdowns, which we'll get to in a minute, but yeah, I think that's the main thing he did well. The jab to the body I thought was also quite good. Always for a pressure fighter, the jab to the body is a great way to get in. maybe you feint a jab upstairs and then you quickly hit to the body, and then as the person, is either trying to back up from the jab or trying to block it, you're able to immediately close the distance. And we did see that a few times with Derek Chisora. He threw, he pretended like he was going to go to the head, then he threw to the body, and then while Otto Wallin was trying to avoid that punch, instantly Derek Chisora closed that gap, used his footwork, closed the gap, and once again it was back to square one, throwing loads of hooks, throwing loads of overhands, and basically just putting on the pressure. So I think those are the the three main things I think Derek did really well: his gas tank, his pressure, and his looping punches. I think those are the three main things he did well, and I think those are the three main things that won him the fight. In terms of what Otto Wallin did well, first of all, let's get into the obvious one, the cut. He was able to get a perfectly placed punch and open up a big cut on Derek Chisora's face, and obviously, while Derek Chisora still pressed forward, it definitely did discourage him a little bit, because remember, when you have a cut, you have to protect that cut, because if you don't, then the referee could stop it, and the referee had to intervene a couple of times and check that he was okay, and he was allowed to continue. But obviously, if he'd have just kept pressing at the same pace and action and everything as he was doing, he would have kept getting hit in that cut, and eventually it would have opened up so badly that the referee would have had to stop the fight, wave it off. So that's something that Otto Wallin did really well, able to land that punch as Chisora was coming in, open up a really big cut on his head, and obviously it just meant that it slowed Derek Chisora down slightly, not a lot to be honest, but slowed him down slightly, and at least was giving Otto Wallin a bit more time to think. Second of all was obviously Otto Wallin's southpaw boxing. This was actually the first time that Derek Chisora fought a southpaw in a very long time. I think it was quite a few years that Derek Chisora had fought a southpaw, and it definitely showed. Wallin was landing good combinations. He was landing the right hand jab quite a lot. The left cross was definitely connecting, and it wasn't like anything, oh my god, like Derek Chisora is wobbled or he's hurt, but they were connecting. Like, these punches were connecting and they were hitting the cuts. So I think his use of his southpaw boxing was definitely good. It was effectively used, and Derek Chisora obviously hadn't fought a southpaw for so long, and we know that Derek Chisora is more of a brawler. He's not really like a technical fighter, so Otto Wallin was able to use that to his advantage, land the right jab, land the left cross, and also some pivots, some shimmies, some moving around the ring. So the use of the southpaw boxing, and also his guard. Now, don't get me wrong, Derek Chisora was landing, but at the same time, given how powerful the punches are and how much bigger Derek Chisora is than Otto Wallin, I thought Otto Wallin's guard was pretty decent. It was blocking a decent amount of the punches, but the thing when you're being hit from as heavy of a puncher as Derek Chisora is, even when you're blocking, you're still like getting moved around, and you're still getting knocked off balance, and the judges do pay attention to that. So there were several times where Derek Chisora wasn't landing many of the punches he was throwing, but because of just the sheer force of the punches, Otto Wallin was still being moved around, he was still being knocked off balance, and he was still made to look like he was hurt. And I definitely think that helped, that that also gave the judges an impression that it's Derek Chisora's round, because the reality is there were some of these flurries where Chisora really wasn't landing very many of the punches at all, but just because of the sheer force of the punches, they were really shaking Otto Wallin and not hurting him. Like, they weren't landing on his face, but maybe they were landing on his arm, but the sheer force made him wobble or made him shake. So definitely that was something that Derek Chisora did well. Now let's get into the knockdowns. So first of all, a really, really well placed punch in the 9th round. This is an absolutely brutal knockdown. I mean, it sent Otto Wallin flying across the ring into the corner. I think it was either a hook or an overhand, I couldn't quite tell, but once again it was a looping punch. Really, really well timed as Otto Wallin was coming in, and he got sent flying back. It was actually quite a scary knockdown, but Otto Wallin was okay. He did well. He recomposed himself. He got up, and honestly, fair play to Otto Wallin for surviving that 9th round, because that happened when there were 2 minutes left in the round. So it was 2 minutes of just Derek Chisora coming forward, landing heavy punches. So fair play. It's a credit to Otto Wallin's toughness, the fact that he was able to get through the rest of the round. So definitely credit to him. But from that point, it was pretty much just cruise control. That's what I meant to say. Cruise control for Derek Chisora. He was really, by this point, Otto Wallin was completely spent, so Chisora was easily able to press forward, cut the distance easily, throw the punches, and eventually we reached the final 10 seconds of the 12th round, so close to the end of the fight, and once again, a great overhand right landed by Derek Chisora to knock Otto Wallin down, and that was it for the fight. So yeah, obviously a huge applause from the audience. Remember, this was the last time that we'll ever see Chisora in a UK boxing ring. Obviously, theoretically, you never know what could happen, but theoretically, this is the last time we'll ever see Derek Chisora in a UK boxing ring, so all the fans in Manchester give him a huge round of applause, which was great to see. And of course, Derek Chisora won by unanimous decision. No surprises there. Just honestly, what a great performance. I mean, as I said, like, I know there's gonna be so many people saying, but it's not technical, it's not impressive, and I get it. Like, I know it's not technical, but as I said, for some fighters, they don't need to be technical. For some fighters, just going forward, biting down on their gum shield and just throwing as many punches as they can, it works. And for Derek Chisora, it worked on this night. So in terms of what this means, so as mentioned before, Derek Chisora won the Eliminator, so this was an IBF World Title Eliminator. So this means that Derek Chisora will now fight for the IBF World Title, and that belt will be contested between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker in a couple of weeks. Video coming on that fight as well, by the way. But yeah, that will be contested in a couple of weeks between Daniel Dubois and also Joseph Parker. So really looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be a great fight. And yeah, Chisora will fight the winner. Now, obviously, I know that in stuff like this, step aside money and just general negotiations could fall through. But knowing the IBF, I do think the fight will go ahead, just because the IBF, we know, is very strict on ensuring that their champions fight their mandatories. If we remember, after the first Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk fight, they actually stripped Usyk of his IBF world title for the heavyweight division because of his refusal to fight Filip Hrgovic. So we know that they're very insistent on their champions fighting their mandatories. So I do think that the winner of Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, will fight Derek Chisora, and that will, according to Chisora, be his final ever fight, the 50th one. And to be fair, it's a very fitting way to end a boxing career, to have one last shot at a world title. And of course, it'd be so cool to see Derek Chisora win a world title. Absolutely, it'll be awesome to see Derek Chisora if he can pull it off. It won't be an easy task. We know how brutal and dangerous Daniel Dubois is, and Joseph Parker is certainly no slouch, so it won't be easy. In fact, in Joseph Parker's case, he's already fought and defeated Derek Chisora twice. But yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, that pretty much covers my thoughts on the fight. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, as always, Derek Chisora brought the fire, brought the energy, and made it a very entertaining night, as he always does. Otto Wallin certainly looked technical. He looked, he did get beat, but ultimately, respect to him. He went the full 12, he survived, and ultimately, he did show a lot of heart and a lot of courage. And as I said before, it's not like he was a slouch. Like, he did land good combinations, he did land good punches, he did open up that cut on Derek Chisora's eye, but Derek Chisora was simply a man on a mission, and he got the job done. So yeah, please let me know down below what you thought of this fight, and just in general what some of your favorite Derek Chisora memories are, especially now that was his final fight in the UK and his 50th will be his last. So comment down below what some of your favorite Derek Chisora fights and memories are, maybe if you've been to a Derek Chisora fight. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed filming this podcast. Always love talking about these great entertaining fights, especially with legends of the sport. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll catch you guys on another podcast soon. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications for more podcasts regularly. Please help me on the road to 100 subscribers. We're currently at 66, so please help me out on the road to 100 subscribers. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on another podcast soon. Bye bye.